This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. If you or somebody you know is dealing with anxiety, which is huge now, especially even years after COVID, depression, going through some challenges, maybe you've thought about therapy, maybe you are doing therapy. Have you heard about EMDR? It's a form of. We're going to talk about that today. How does it work? Something about eye movement. That's all I got. But I do know, and that's speaking to people in my circle that have done EMDR, it works. And it definitely makes a difference. Julia Reed is a certified EMDR therapist and owner of Bright Awakenings Counseling and joins us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. How are you?
Very well, very well. Looking forward to learning more. EMDR stands for what?
Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a mouthful.
It is. And it offers zero clarity except from the eye movement part as to what exactly it is. I'm intrigued. Well, okay, let's rewind this. I heard that it was discovered by somebody that was watching a tennis match and was watching how people's eyes go back and forth. I don't know if that's true, but that was the springboard for it. But either way, the eye is moving and apparently has a benefit. So let's start there. The eye thing. What's going on there?
Well, I have never heard of that tennis match thing. So
Wow.
it was developed by Dr. Francine Shapiro in 1987, and she had actually her famous walk through the park. She had been researching a lot of these things and had been dealing with a problem, and she was walking through the park and her eyes were darting left to right, and she noticed, oh, I'm starting to feel better. Now that is in a nutshell, very brief explanation. Then she's like, oh, I'm going to take this, try it with my friends and colleagues, and okay, here you go. EMDR is born. I think it was originally more EMD versus the reprocessing on there. So EMDR, it stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so it's a powerful therapy that helps people heal from difficult life experiences or trauma by allowing the brain to reprocess those memories in a safe and effective way. Instead of just talking about the past, EMDR helps you actually move through it. So the emotional pain, physical tension in the body, and negative beliefs about yourselves tied to those memories lose a grip. So what's happening with the eye movements? Is that your big question? Okay.
Yeah.
So the eye movements, really what's happening is you move your eyes. So the big thing people think about is your eyes are moving left to right, left and right. And while you're talking about this disturbing material and it can be any time, and the left to right eye movement is really a bilateral stimulation of the brain. So like we have this hemisphere, but left and right hemispheres of the brain. And when we go left to right, they're saying, oh, we're activating it. Kind of like in the old school, the idea was like your REM cycle, your eyes are darting back and forth in your head. It's helping to like process things from the day, integrate it into your long-term memory. That was the original assumption about all of this. But you can do any kind of bilateral. So it can be tapping left to right. It can be sound in your ears left to right. It can be any form of an attention thing to have you doing something in the present while you're thinking about something in the past. Because sometimes that past stuff is really magnetic and you can get sucked into it. And so we want people to be able to stay present and grounded. And so like doing the eye movements, the tapping, or listening to other things helps you stay present while you're also having a foot in the past. So we say you have one foot in the present, one foot in the past.
Would you say that it's essentially EMDR in theory is essentially the same thing as tapping, which you mentioned, which is kind of refocusing your attention as I understand it, and there's different meridians where you tap on them. Is it kind of doing it the same way, doing the same thing?
So EFT tapping is they are using an acupressure, like you said, with the meridians on your body. And so, like to relieve certain areas, they believe those certain points on your face and body, like help align with like releasing certain different emotions. So, but and it helps keep you present. And so the tapping, but and they do similar things, EMDR and tapping,
Mhm.
because tapping helps with desensitizing, so like making something less stressful, and freeing yourself from the emotional freedom technique. Tapping is what it's called, and
Yep.
so it helps you free yourself from it. And so the beginning, there is a phase in EMDR where we are desensitizing, but EMDR is slightly different in the fact that we also, a lot of time with memories, is there is a negative belief attached to the memory, like I'm not good enough, I'm not safe, I'm powerless, I'm weak, I should have done something different. And so EMDR will take it to the next level and then allow you to it takes away that negative belief
Mhm.
and adds and draws in a positive belief. So it does the opposite. So instead of I'm not good enough, we're like saying, okay, I am good enough. And it allows it to like that, just kind of like download for you with the eye movements, because your brain is activated when you're doing the tapping or the eye movements, and it gets you moving and going, and it allows your brain to be more open to those things and just sink in better.
So why don't we go with a situation, hypothetical but real for many of us. Let's just say the I'm not good enough feeling, belief. And
Mm-hmm.
it's my understanding that most of us, if not all of us, have that belief to some degree. And it
Mm-hmm.
comes from childhood, call it 0 to 7, could be one incident, could be one situation, could be or repeated. Let's say you had one parent and your parents loved you, but maybe the one parent would always say, "Yeah, you did great. You can do better than that, though. I know you've got it in you. You can do better than that." Those kinds of statements as parents, we don't realize that it could have an impact, and maybe that has set the stage for somebody to feel that they're not worthy, they're not good enough, they're not going to succeed. So let's say that is the belief in somebody because of things that somebody said to them. You work with them. First of all, do you help them understand where it came from? Do people, have that aha moment? Yeah, my dad used to say all the time that, I could do better. I would try my best, but he would always try and push me more. But, that now I have this thought that I'm not good enough or I can't succeed. Do people realize that connection?
Sometimes they come in and they're very aware and they understand that connection. They know, is very prevalent, if they've done a lot of research on their own, a lot of self-help stuff.
Sure.
And sometimes people come in, they're like, no, both my parents were there. We had all the money. We were able to do all these. They just don't know. And so,
Right.
yes, we do have to take some steps to help people see the link. And EMDR is really neat. We have this thing called a float back or the affect scan that helps you like say, okay, when's the most recent time you felt like you weren't good enough? Like, and then I say, okay, now I want you to think about the worst part of that moment when you felt you weren't good enough. Get an image of that in your head and then put that belief, I'm not good enough with it. And then usually people feel that kind of like in their chest, or somewhere in their body, like, okay, feel it really strong, like just really feel that. And then I'll be like, okay, now let your mind scan back to an early time when you felt that same way before in your body and that same negative belief about yourself. And then like we'll just start jumping memories back in time, back in time, back. And then they're like, oh yeah,
Um,
I have this memory when I was like 4 years old.
wow. So you really work them back to
Yes.
see interesting.
Yeah. And the brain just lights up. That memory network will then light up. And then there you go. That's all of our, what we call in EMDR targets to address for reprocessing. And like those would be the memories that we'd want to adjust. And usually we start at the very beginning, we start early. Because that's the foundation. That's where the seed was planted. And if we can tear out the foundation of the house and the structure that's on it, like the foundation, it just kind of comes tumbling down.
Mhm.
Then you start to see all these changes happen in the
Wow.
present as well. Mhm.
It brings back a memory. I did I think it was called a timeline regression.
Uh-huh.
And the goal was um, five negative emotions. And then you had to think of the first memory you have, first one of when that emotion came up. So it could be sadness. When was the first time you remember feeling sadness? So you really got to go like in search deep, and scan your brain. And then sometimes, it's not far back, but you might feel it's further and you keep it sounds similar, like we're working our way backwards.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, you've done that. That's exactly. It's like, when's the first time you felt that way? So some people can't automatically go to the first, so we just kind of
Sure.
like let them like slowly go
And
back
this
in
is all
time.
stuff from your
Yeah.
childhood. It's buried. Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah, and most of the time, like we're looking for memories that are like we want that earliest memory we can possibly get. Like, and that's in like that 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 might even be a little like if somebody's saying, "Oh, I don't have anything before age 10," I'm like, I don't know. It might not have been big to you. It might have been
Yeah.
something small, but it's there. It's there. That
Yep.
seed was usually planted very, very early.
And maybe, like we said, maybe not intentionally by
No,
somebody.
usually it's not.
Yeah.
Usually. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it could be you were passing by the kitchen and heard your parents talking. They're not even talking to you. You just heard something. You're five and you internalized it. And then that point forward, right up, yeah, add 40 years to that. And now you're still dealing with that limiting belief that you just heard in passing, and not every kid will internalize it the same way, which is, another challenge. So let's go to the I thing. So now we have the limiting belief. We went back. We identified that it came from, a certain point in childhood. You're working with somebody. What happens with where's the magic with the eye? Like, are they looking at something or am I getting this all wrong?
So there's a lot of different things, right? So the traditional setup is that like I have somebody sitting just to the right of me, and like we're kind of sitting very close to each other. Like, but so they're not directly in front, but they're just the right. And I hold my hand out and I go like this and I say, follow my fingers. And they're tracking my fingers with their eyeballs only, not turning their whole head, just their eyeballs. And and so we can do that. I have a light bar in my office. People can sit in front of a light bar, and there's a light that moves across the bar. If we're online, I have programs online that put a dot on the screen, and you follow the dot with your eyeballs. You can have sound. You can wear headphones
Oh,
and put sound in your ear left and right. It'll go
okay.
through. Most headphones are great like that. They will do the bilateral sound. You can simply tap. We have these things called buzzies that you can hold in your or tappers. That it's just like if your phone vibrates, but it's like something you hold in each hand and it goes zzz, zzz, back and forth, left and right in your hands. So you can hold those. There's so many different things that you can do.
Wow. Okay.
So
This is no pun intended, an eye opener. Um, in that you said that before, but I thought you were giving examples of other therapies that refocus your attention. But even though correct me if I'm not getting this right, even though it's eye movement, DR, it doesn't have to be just the eye movement. It could be sound. It could be all the other things you mentioned. See, I didn't know that. I don't think many of us,
yes,
because it's called eye
yes.
movement.
Right, right. And so because that's where it started. It started with
Sure.
Francine Shapiro's walk through the park. She started moving her eyes back and forth. And so she started with that, with the eye movements.
She was watching a
And
tennis
then
match.
and there you go, maybe because your eyes
I
do go like that in a tennis match too.
guess I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, it did start with that, but eventually it changed into like it can be any form of this bilateral stimulation, and then now today, like we even add it can be any form of what we call dual attention stimulus, which is where like you're just doing anything that you can that's going to keep you present while you're also focused on something. So you have dual attention to attention on the present and attention on the past. So two things.
Hmm.
So I might have people saying, counting, doing math while their eyes are going, tapping. I've had people, we were up in the room doing side steps back and forth, clapping. It's just
Wow.
anything. Yeah.
Is this I don't want to say a form of, but do you feel there's an element of hypnotherapy involved in this? Because we're taking somebody out of their present state and focusing their mind elsewhere, and ultimately it's going to the subconscious.
It is, but it's so that early on there was a lot of like people were saying to Dr. Francine Shapiro, you're just hypnotizing people, you're just hypnotizing people. And she said, no, I'm not. They are fully present and aware. That's the whole point of doing the eye movements or the taps and stuff, is to keep them fully engaged. Like they are aware, they know what's going on, they can stop at any time so that they can, yes, they are totally aware of what's happening. So you're not totally
Yeah.
like sinking off into like a meditative state that you would be in hypnosis.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I figured that, but I just find it interesting how, we're going in we're tapping into our subconscious to connect with these things that happened in the past. And interestingly, or maybe it's not a connection, but one of the forms of hypnosis is eye movement. And I've done it a
Mhm.
ton of times. I've hypnotized myself where you just look up and you just look into your eyebrows and you're just staring up there and then your eyes start fluttering a little bit and then you close them and now you're in that state. So it's amazing how that eye movement or something to refocus your attention gets the job done. Gets the job done.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Tell us
yes.
your journey. Why are you doing this? How'd you get here?
Well, I just always grew up enjoying science. My family was really big and behind science. My mom even went back to school, became a professional geologist,
Uh,
and so I just loved learning why things do what they do in the natural world. And I was always a little hesitant to lean into psychology though, because it was in my family we're like, that's not a hard science, it's a soft science. And so, but I had friends that knew me and they're like, you should really take this class, like, because I think you would enjoy it. And I did. And I was like, oh my gosh, I get this so easily. Like, this is wonderful. I love to people watch already and try to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. And so I went into that. I went into psychology class and I didn't look back. And then after school, I didn't really know exactly which area I wanted to go into. So I worked at a psychiatric hospital for children where the children went and stayed there who had big trauma and things like that. And I realized, you just can't, I couldn't do much with the bachelor's degree. I was like, I can't really help them like I want to.
mhm.
And so I saw the other therapists at the hospital. I was like, I really think y'all are wonderful. Like, how do you do this? What's the next step? And so I went back to grad school and got my master of social work degree. And there you go.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Good for you. Yeah. And
yeah, yeah,
obviously, you have a passion and a purpose to help others.
I do.
Yeah. And it seems that when you were at that children's hospital, there's only so much you could do, but you wanted to do more.
I
That's what it
did.
sounds like. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've been broadcasting since I was a teenager, and my one regret was dropping out of psychology classes. I should have taken. I am so fascinated by the way the mind works and all of that, but you don't know until you know, and it's never too late. But it's fascinating. Especially especially the subconscious and the childhood. How that's pretty much everything that's driving us right now. It's kind of scary in a way.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I've recently been doing this early trauma stuff where
Mm,
I am doing EMDR with people when back on memories, and it's not even real memories, when they're in the womb. All the
yeah.
way from the time they were in the womb, infancy, age 3. And like it's amazing what your body remembers, even though you don't have like a visual memory, like with the image in your mind, and how that stuff just sticks with you and those feelings in your body and how it just impacts your
Yeah.
whole world and the way you experience everything. It's
It's
really
remarkable.
amazing.
It really is. And,
Yes.
and when you say that, I believe you're also saying, because I've been looking into this, I'm scratching the surface. You've been studying this and got degrees and everything, but it's not just your memory. It goes into the cellular level. Like when you say the body remembers, the body, all of it remembers everything, and you hold on to it, and therein lies disease and all the other health issues we have, but we don't realize it, that where it could be coming from.
Oh, you would be amazed at I do a lot of work with childhood sexual abuse, and unfortunately, there's a lot of women with this, and it happens to men too. But a lot of the women that I work with who have had this, end up having so many issues with their reproductive region, have early hysterectomies and
Wow.
cysts and all kinds of issues. I mean, their body remembers and it stores that trauma there. A lot of people with autoimmune issues, like that's that oppression in their throat area, the thyroid, like it's just you didn't allow yourself to talk, to have a voice. Like it's all connected. Your body is feeling it, your body's remembering it. That's the beauty of EMDR is like we get it, we allow it to like you just not only are you making this distressing memory no longer distressing, we neutralize it, but you reinforce that positive belief because we believe that people have these good beliefs about themselves. It's just not integrated. So we help it integrate, and then we allow your body to just release all of that pain and tension that's associated with that trauma. And you get it out and you just feel freer and more light and open. It's really
Mm.
beautiful to watch.
It's a new you. It's like a new life, like a new person when they say
That's
that.
why I call it bright awakenings because I'm healing the past so you can have a brighter future. And people they come in, it's just like they feel so low, and then you heal all of these things. We're not just putting a band-aid on it. Like talk therapy, it's great, it has a purpose, but if you have these things going on, we need deep healing. And so we actually
Mm.
go back and we heal it. And then once it's healed, you just move forward into your future. It's just your new brighter way of living. And it's beautiful and you don't look back.
Well, I love the name of your practice. In that you call it Bright Awakenings. The bright, I got that. For me, the awakening is you're waking up to your past because your past dictates your future, whether you want to believe it or not. And we can even go layers deeper, in terms of energy. And like you talked about the throat, if you look at energy healing in the throat chakra, you could have energy messed up there. I know that some people might, that we're going woo woo now for some, but especially parts of your family that don't believe in, some of that stuff. But there's some science out there too that supports that. How do we connect with you if somebody is, going through some challenges, maybe, and there's a place for meds, but maybe you don't need to be taking meds. Maybe you need to go to the root cause and not just take care of the symptoms with your anxiety, depression, etc. How do we find you?
Yes. So I have a website and it is brightawakenings.com. Very simple. So you can just go to my website. You can find me there. I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So I'm in all of these places. So yeah, it's just all under brightawakenings.com. So yeah.
Um, Kudos for locking down that domain because I would think I don't know if you did that long ago, but I would think that would have been taken. But it says it's perfect. It's perfect in describing what you do. Um,
Yeah.
Thank you, Julia, for all the insight. Now I better understand it, as do the rest of us. And it's wonderful. What you do is wonderful, and changing lives and connecting the dots, to our past and a better future. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.